And we're live. Woo!
Mr. Video Game, if you will. So, exciting, and stay tuned for that. We, of course, as always, stream on twitch.tv/Dead Sun Entertainment every Thursday night at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern. And supposedly we're on YouTube at CBGP Games, but I haven't been uploading it there, apparently. So this video will be going there. I am new to Twitch uploading and didn't hit a button correctly, apparently, yeah.
Oof.
Anyway, as always with us, we have the Christmas Queen. It's Joan, aka Lady Goggles.
Hello, my darlings. Hello. Happy winter solstice and a very Merry Christmas, should you celebrate either of those. If not, happy holidays. Mwah, mwah.
And along with us, he is Mr. Heat Miser. It's Brian, aka Wonder Boy.
Mr. Heat Miser?
Nah.
I mean, I'll take it. I'm full of heat. I'm a regular heat machine. So, yep.
I guess you have never seen that particular holiday special for Mr.
No.
Heat Miser. No?
It exactly came to me as soon as you, like, it took a second, and then, like, as soon as I said it to myself out loud, and then it clicked. Like, as soon as I was like, Mr. Heat Miser, I'm like, oh, wait, no, Mr. Heat Miser. I'm gonna own it.
Okay, real talk.
All me.
Real talk, honestly, I know we have to get into games and stuff, but when we were younger, I'm talking like up until 2 or 3 years ago, my brother and I used to argue over which one of us was Heat Miser and which one of us was Snow Miser. So we finally went to my mother, and we were like, Ma, who you have to decide this because it's ridiculous. And my mother, like, in her backhand way, she's like, well, obviously, Joni's Snow Miser because everything's a fucking joke to her, and Billy's a Heat Miser because he's a little asshole. So I'm like, thanks.
Nice.
Yeah, that is very your mom of her.
Yeah. So I'm confirmed for Snow Miser.
So here in the Dead Sun house, we've been playing a whole heckin' lot of the Smash Brothers between me and Joshua. And I know I've put in at least 20 hours into it. I don't know how much that Josh has put in. And kind of fucking love it. It's still not as good as Melee, nothing is.
Speak for yourself. Melee doesn't have Isabelle, and that's just what is going wrong with it. Isabelle's great. Isabelle for life.
I don't like playing Isabelle.
Oh, that's because you're a scrub.
I see you put Isabelle versus Isabelle up on the screen. That is... It's the low blow.
I'm getting my Isabelle in this fucking podcast one way or the other, okay?
No, go for it.
I will say the World of Light is definitely not as good as some of the previous single-player efforts, especially the World of Darkness that we've had before. That shit was dope as fuck because it was a whole side scroller with all this great story and stuff. And this is just here's a map with a series of events that you can do, and each event is basically a slightly altered battle.
Yeah, see, I would still play through it because it somehow feels like less pressure. Because I suck at the Smash.
Emissary. Thank you, Josh, because my brain completely locked up on that word. I'm sorry, Joan, you were saying?
I don't remember.
Oh,
Well, either way, like, I still enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. It's still fun, but it's not the best ever.
I don't know. I haven't got a chance to play it myself yet, but it seems pretty rad.
It is still okay. The animations are smooth and amazing. The gameplay itself is very fun, just as lively as you would expect. Some of the items and special modes that you can go through are pretty baller. Classic mode is pretty dang cute and fun, and with over 70 characters to play through individually for classic mode, you're not exactly short of things to do and ways to entertain yourself with Smash Brothers. So it's a very easy purchase.
Well, as soon as I'm able to afford a Switch, that's probably going to be near the top of the list for purchases for me. So I just really want to just see the character select screen.
It
Like,
is
I just wanna see
robust
how, like,
and
weird-
intense.
Like how crowded that thing is. Like you need to put on like a second pair of eyeglasses just to be able to see everybody.
It's hilarious because you start off with like the original 8 characters from the original Smash Brothers, and they take up like all the screen. And then as you go, just everyone gets smaller and smaller to the point of like we'll be sitting there like I wanted to play Zero Suit Samus. Where the hell is she? And like no, she's to the right. And like you have people yelling at you while you're trying to put down your Smash token. It's
Nice.
great. The online also has its kinks, you know, as any Nintendo online thing
Because
does.
that's how Nintendo do.
Yeah, they are not very good at their whole online thing, and it has gotten somewhat better, but if you change your character, you go to the back of the line in the current line of people playing Smash with each other, rada rada. It could have been better implemented.
Can I
Well,
say from this
I mean-
footage though that Isabel's really holding her own in a competitive way? Like I know Ness won, but she's if you know what you're doing with her moves, like she seems like a very strong contender.
All I know is that every single list that I've looked at has put my boy Little Mac at the very bottom of the list, and that is ridiculous. Little Mac is such a fucking good boy, and
Just
the
because he's a
fact
good
that
boy don't mean he can kick some ass.
he kicks all of the ass. I love playing as Little Mac, and his fighting style is so goddamn ridiculous. I love it. But fine, no, nobody loves him but me. It's okay.
That everyone has a Smash character like that. Though.
Mhm.
Like everybody does.
Like everybody calls Isabel a meme character, but like I've seen some people like really kick some ass with her, so I don't know. Also, I'm biased because I love Isabel.
Joan, I believe you've also been playing some of your own video games that are not Smash.
I gotta be honest with you. I really haven't been playing a lot of video games that haven't been like on stream. But one of the games I have been having a lot of fun with was Katamari Damacy Reroll, the re-release of the first Katamari Damacy that was on PS2, and they released it for Nintendo Switch. It's been a lot of fun, even though I've been kind of salty about it. The controls have always been kind of jank, but in comparison to using like the DualShock controller for the PS2, it's a controller that you can hold firmly in your hands. You don't have to worry about your hands like not being on the same sort of y-axis, and it's a little confusing. So when I was playing it, I was having a really hard time getting the controls on the Switch to like kind of cooperate with each other. But once we put in the Joy-Con holder controller, it made the game like 100% more smoother and easier to play. So I recommend, like, if you're going to play that on the Switch, you really ought to get the Joy-Con controller or another, like, solid controller that you're comfortable with. Like, the Pro controller is too big for my hands, it's uncomfortable. Because playing it with just the Joy-Cons themselves, like, it sucks. I couldn't get, like, any control on my Katamari or anything. But when I did finally stop being salty about the controls, like, I mean, the graphics look great. Everything is updated graphics, so it's crystal clear. Everything from, the smallest tack to the king of all cosmos's bulge. You can see everything in just perfect, just loveliness. It's really nice. I enjoy it. They haven't really added much in the way of extra modes or anything like that, which is a little disappointing, but I was hoping they roll over some of the stuff from maybe like We Love Katamari or things like that. But if there is, I haven't seen it. So if you're looking just to play Katamari Damacy, and you don't have a PS2 or you lost your copy or had mine, stolen like mine, it's worth getting. I mean, it's what, $30? Very, very solid game once you have the right controls. It's enjoyable, especially if you haven't played it. So I do recommend it.
It's also on PC, and I did watch Joan play a bit of it, and man, it's amazing. Like, I have these memories, like, and I see some of the things now that actually you can tell what the hell these items actually are.
We were talking about that because the PS2, like, it looked great on the PS2, but the items are so blurry that we had a conversation like, is that a face or is that a brownie? Like, what is that? And then when you rolled it up in the Switch, you're like, oh, that's what it is. It was tech. You couldn't tell, man. But no, it was. I mean, like I said, graphic wise, it's great. The controls are good once you get something that you're comfortable with. I mean, for $30, it's not bad. Like, it keeps you going for a couple of hours. There's a lot of challenges you can come back to. Once you beat the game, you can always go back to the previous levels and try to get a better score or make a bigger Katamari. So, I mean, there's some replay value there. I mean, I'd recommend it.
So we're recommending you roll up to your local GameStop and get a copy. Also, GameStop is the only people selling physical copies.
Yeah, there's that too.
Boo.
That was pretty bad, sorry.
Booing. Keep booing. Boo. Boo it all.
There was a user that left in the middle of that joke, and I don't blame them. Anyway.
Yeah.
The story of the day, the Spider-Man Raimi suit. Mouth, word, talk. So, this one had a wee bit of a history, and this is, I'm using the Polygon from Michael McWhorter as my source on this, but I've definitely watched this unfold on Twitter. When Insomniac released the content of the third DLC chapter for all of the suits, people have been clamoring for there to be a suit that looked like the one in the Sam Raimi films, and there hadn't been one, and they released the information for Season Pack 3, and it still wasn't there. And people got really salty in the comments. And one Twitter user said, come on, Insomniac, it doesn't sound like you guys were listening. The response from Insomniac, verbatim, listening doesn't always mean that we do what people tell us to. We hear you. Hearing doesn't mean we always act or follow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Following this, the dust-up on Twitter was effing ridiculous. It was, a vocal minority, but boy howdy were these people vocal about their one suit not getting included in DLC Pack 3.
And can I just say, before we go, like, this is a conversation I kind of also want to pin for a future podcast, like during a slow news week or something. The entitlement from a lot of the gaming community when they demand something from a game developer, and the game developer's like, well, we can't implement this, we don't have the time to implement this, and then everybody gets, like, fucking their diapers in a twist. Like, I feel like this is a worthwhile conversation to have and put a pin in. But I just wanted to bring that up for future
absolutely.
shows.
And what should have really been the shining moment for DLC 3 is when they announced, yes, with DLC 3 pack, we are bringing in the Raimi suit. Everyone has asked since we announced DLC packs, here it is. This is the last thing we're announcing. This is our big headstone. And instead, headstone, that was inappropriate yet appropriate at the same time.
Headstone. This is our epitaph.
Yeah, because while this should have been a big moment for them, this is clearly something they've been working on. Anybody who works even tangentially to either getting approval on these things or designing any sort of media or working in knows that these things take forever and not 4 days. Because it was 4 days after the initial DLC 3-pack announcement that they announced that the suit is also coming. And a lot of people have been trying to say that it was their complaints that made this finally happen.
Of course they are. God.
Yep. And it is the saddest thing because the people over at Insomniac have clearly spent so much time and energy and dedication to making one of the best games of the year, a very clear and easy game of the year contender for a lot of people. And just to be shed on like this at their signing off moment. This is going to be the last thing they're going to produce and release for this game. Period.
Oof. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Yeah, curious as to what just happened. Anyway, no, and that's the main thing that nobody. I won't say nobody because there are some people that wanted this sentiment to come out of this, but what Insomniac and I'd say a good chunk of the fans of this game did not want to see is to see the release of this suit be claimed as some sort of victory by the side that just will not ever shut up and insulted like other content within the game just because they didn't get the suit from the Spider-Man movies.
Oh, hold on. You sound like a robot.
Oh, right.
I thought it might have just been me.
Yeah, we've got
saying a few words.
We've got some connection issues on my end. I'm getting red for the ping.
Yeah, as am I.
The hell?
My ping's green. I don't know.
Whoa. It's going green again for me now.
Alright,
Do
that's
I
better.
sound bad?
Yeah, you sound better now. It was just we were losing some packets there for a minute. That's weird.
Oh yeah. No, it's cool. It's cool. These things happen.
Go ahead.
Not worried. Anyway, I think that's the one thing that people did not want to see come out of this is the fact that this vocal group has just been trashing the content for the game that's been released by Insomniac because they didn't get this one suit. Like they're now them claiming this as a victory for their outcry is probably the most misjudged reaction that they could have to this sort of thing. And honestly, Insomniac really took a very strong position with their initial response, and to see them actually kind of give way, because I don't believe they were actually planning on doing this. Like, part of me just really feels like this is a reactionary move to release the Maguire suit, the Raimi suit, whatever they want to call it. And I think it would have been better suited to hold their ground and not produce this thing, because now you've just given these communities yet another reason to generate this sort of faux outcry about something.
Oh yeah.
In order to get their way.
Like that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like now that you've sort of given in to them, it's like, oh, well, all we need to do is make enough of a stink on the internet and we'll get what we want. And it sort of gives into that, and it's super shitty, and we're dropping packets again.
Yep. Thank you, Discord.
I mean, it harkened back to a lot of stuff that happened with ArenaNet earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like, granted, that situation cost people their jobs. It wasn't at the expense of one suit that I'm going to argue is probably the most generic looking Spider-Man suit next to every other Spider-Man suit from the original comic run. like really, there's not much distinguishing this suit from like the traditional Spider-Man suit. So I don't know why people were clamoring so hard to get this thing in there.
Who the hell knows?
But regardless,
I've seen people
Sorry.
complaining on Twitter too, like, "Oh, you didn't get the lines correct, and look at the mesh over the eyes. It isn't the same." Shut up. Holy
Insert,
shit.
hand job motion here. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just kind of over it,
Oh no, you didn't get the mesh right on the eyes of one suit out of like 50 or close to 50 in the entire game. If you want that bad, go break out your PS2 and play Spider-Man 2 all over again. The game that everybody like threw away as soon as this one came out because like, oh, we've anointed the new top tier Spider-Man game of all time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, like if you don't like how the suit looks in this one, then go back to that one. But honestly, it never should have gotten to that in the first place. Like, this is just this whole thing really irks me because I really like the Spider-Man game. Like, I enjoyed my time with it this year, and like Insomniac knocked that thing out of the park. But for a lot of people to sit there and deride the game and its DLC as
Excuse me.
quote trash because they don't get one suit.
Yeah.
Like that, it's just so. It's one of the things that makes me so frustrated to like go through gaming subreddits and to go through like gaming communities and message boards and stuff. It's just like I really don't like calling myself part of these communities at sometimes because of just how petty and hyperbolic people can get.
Oh yeah, and remember, this is the same community that shoved one of the developers off of Twitter over a fucking puddle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
#Puddlegate or whatever the fucking stupid shit it was called. It's ridiculous.
No. Now, granted, Insomniac had the last laugh on that one. I will give them that. They had a very good retort once the game actually came out, but still, like they would have been much better suited, I think, holding this away. Because honestly, like if this is going to be the last piece of content, you don't ever have to answer to these people ever again, and they can just yell into the void on
yep.
Twitter and Reddit about how shitty it was that they didn't get their Raimi suit. And Insomniac's just like, that's cool, we got all this money.
Yeah, and like at some point, you just, not to interrupt, but at some point as a developer, you just gotta be like, fuck it. I can't do this anymore, man. I can't.
Yeah, just walk away from this this project's done, you have something else coming out, and they'll probably still buy that project whenever it comes out, even if they're bitching about not getting this one piece of DLC. So Raimi suit was not going to break your future projects.
Yeah, right.
Either way, speaking of getting your money, The Walking Dead final season will be coming to the Epic Game Store, which is a huge win for Epic Games. Apparently, they had a lot to do with the game even being finished in the first place. So, I mean, kudos for them for not just, making sure that this gets done, giving the original developers of the game the foothold to finish their work, but also really this is a big win for the store itself because this is the only place that you can buy it outright. Granted, if you had it on Steam or Humble already, you're still going to get those episodes, but you're not going to be able to buy it new.
Oh yeah, like I already own the whatever came out for Steam. So I had hope that I'd better get the last couple of episodes, or I'm going to be super pissed. But I mean, you're talking about this being a win for Epic Games. I mean, Epic Games, especially now that just released, what was it? It 80/20 or 88, something like that. Revenue split on top of all the games it currently gives, and then the free games it's offering. Like I just got Subnautica free from them. Super Meat Boy, they're gonna give out for free soon. Like, this is Epic Games.
Hades is coming out just for Epic Games.
Journey's gonna be released on Epic Games, which I'm fucking so happy to see. Like, I want to stream that so bad and play that and share that because I love Journey. It's one of my favorite games. Epic Games is really, I'm fingers crossed, is really starting to shape up to be a real contender in the PC gaming market. I mean, it's looking pretty solid, and I think this is a fantastic win, especially if the season winds up being as great as it has the potential to be.
Yeah, the other major thing to come out of this announcement is that we actually have a release date for episode 3 now. That's going to be launching on January 15th. They have, and then of course the final episode I believe is coming out sometime later in the year. No window announced for that release. Yeah,
I would say probably by summer it'll all be released. If I had to guess, if I had to make an estimated guess, but with the turnover and everything in Telltale and getting all that taken care of at Skybound, I imagine it's probably going to take quite a bit.
Yeah, and there is a whole FAQ on all of this. I'd recommend watching it in your free time. That is voiced by Melissa Hutchinson, the voice of Clementine. Yeah, so definitely worth the watch if you are a Walking fan dead and had questions on how the series would finally
Walking fan dead and hat. I will say, like, as somebody who I haven't really read the comics. What I did read, I enjoyed, but I never really got into it, and I didn't care for the show. But playing the first season of The Walking Dead, that shit had me hooked. So when the whole thing went down with Telltale and everything else, I was really disappointed because it's such a good series that kind of went a little wayward in the second and especially third season. So I'm like, after we stream and finish up for tonight, I'm probably gonna watch this FAQ and see what's going on. But I'm really looking forward to it. Whatever happens to Clem, I'm sure I'm gonna cry my eyes out. She's such a beloved character, man. Like, if you haven't played these games, like, there's nothing I could say without spoiling that can convey how wonderful the game's written, especially season 1. It's fucking heartbreaking and sweet and morose and awful, and it's a really good series. At the very least, if you haven't played it, play the first season, if nothing else. It's just wonderful, and I can't wait to get started on these games.
Speaking of beloved characters, since we did not stream last week, we didn't get around to this one. There's some new posters for Sonic the Hedgehog.
What the fuck
the Hedgehog
is this?
Sonic the Hedgehog.
God.
He is a beautiful, beautiful baby boy with strange looking hands and a furry body and an eyeball that somehow protrudes out of his face meats.
I'm just gonna let that sit on the screen for a minute.
Well, here's the thing. From what I understand, Tim Miller, the man behind the original Deadpool movie, has said that this whole design is because they wanted to make him more realistic to fit into our world.
There was no need for that.
I'm just saying, like, I don't even know
Look at
what
this
the hell they were
fucking
thinking.
hot mess.
That this was more realistic.
Look, we've known
Look
for
at
a
that
long
shit.
time that this is Shadow's world. So really, what does this fucking matter?
I need to you know what I need to do? I need to find a still frame from anybody remember the Sonic fan movie that had Doug Walker and all those other like big names in it? Like, Sonic looked better in that. Hold on a second.
And from the conversations they had talking about the Sega execs were more worried about him having a separated eye. Which, that one I totally get. I get why you'd want to have a separated eye in your live-action movie. But what is this?
Like, call me crazy, but this actually doesn't look too bad. Like,
does Sonic... Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I haven't seen this image yet. Okay, yeah, that doesn't look all that bad. Granted, it still doesn't fit in its surroundings.
Sure, but for a fan film, and, it does what it's got to do, Like,
yeah, exactly. It's there. It's a perfectly fine representation of Sonic the Hedgehog. It doesn't have defined calf muscles. It doesn't have, like, baseball player thighs.
Right.
It's
easily recognizable as Sonic. It's for if you're gonna do like a live actiony Sonic where he's interacting with human environments and live action and all that. I mean, that's honestly, to me, that's honestly not too bad. But whatever the fuck this is, I don't. It just. It looks pretty. Yeah, this ain't it. And then the Sonic the Hedgehog official Twitter posted this. So that's something to look forward to.
Nice.
Oh boy.
That's great. I don't. God damn it. I'm just going to go back to the original point that I had whenever I heard about the Sonic movie being made. Do we not forget what happened whenever we put Sonic into a environment with quote-unquote humans back in 2006 with that terrible Xbox 360 game?
Oh, God, that
Do
was
we not
awful.
remember just how awkward and odd and just cringe-inducing that was?
What do you mean when him and the princess smooched at the end and everybody was like,
Yeah.
oh!
Yeah. That weird dead-eyed fucking mucus swap that they had over there.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that was...
I am the last one to sit here and complain about an anthropomorphized animal like making out with a human being. I'm the last one to complain about something like that. But
Like
even that shit
your
was
disclaimer,
awkward.
like, we're not making fun of furries. I'm just saying it was a little weird.
No.
No, we got furries on the show here.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. As a furry, fuck that. Stop it.
The
We don't
only
need any more of that.
The only positive thing I can say is that the whole body hasn't been revealed. Maybe it looks better, and they've got a whole year really to polish up and finish the CGI. So, let's see a full trailer first before we really say anything.
Sure.
I mean, yeah, I mean, they're clearly still tweaking the design, or else they wouldn't have shown it in silhouette, But the thing that confused me even more so than this character design was like reading Tim Miller addressing how they're going to show his speed in the movie. I don't know if y'all caught these little tidbits about how he wanted to you have to limit how you represent his speed because if you don't limit it, then nothing is special, and that it can't be supersonic. But we have to figure out how to portray it realistic to our world. And I'm just saying, you are way overthinking.
Yeah,
this. Sonic goes fast. Make him go fast. The end.
Here's my worry from a technical... Not to interrupt you, Slacker, just real quick before I forget. Here's my worry from a technical standpoint. If they try pulling that 48 frames per second shit that The Hobbit tried to do, because if they do, that's insta-death. Can you imagine? Am I the only person who was watching that version of The Hobbit and almost got sick because of how obviously bad it was? That's what I really hope they don't try that shit.
I mean, one can hope. But I mean, I don't know. I honestly have no idea what they don't. It doesn't seem like they have any clue as to what they're going to do. Try and make Sonic, whose entire personality is go fast and eat chili dogs. You can't get 50%. You can't accurately explain how you're going to depict 50% of this character's motivation.
Admittedly, he is not the first person to have ever tried to figure out how fast Sonic goes. For people who develop the games and people who have developed the comics and the TV shows, they've all had questions. Okay, well, we know Sonic go fast. How fast Sonic goes? So it's a question worth having an answer to. I just don't know if they're doing it right, but we'll see. We'll find out.
Yeah.
It's just so odd to add that extra wrinkle of we have to make it realistic for our world. There's no realism with this in our world. You're putting
it's a humanoid hedgehog. What realism?
It's a fixed cartoon, you shit.
What they really should have done, honestly, if somebody handed me $1 billion and was like, go make this Sonic movie, first of all, I'd say fuck you. But if they insisted, I would make it just a cartoon film. Get Jaleel White to be the voice. Make it a cartoon film, go with the Sat-Am fucking plot, and just condense it into a 2-hour film. That's it. That's all you need. You'd get the kid audience, you'd get the man-child audience, you'd get the Sonic audience, everybody would be covered, and it would be a hell of a lot cheaper than doing this shit. That's all,
Speaking of the man-child audience, moving on to our next topic. Top Riot executive has been suspended.
Here we go.
I want to give a little description of what's going on. That it became so normal. What people said, the ball grabbing and things like that, that was absolutely well known across the board. Other former employees and witnesses believe that the style of bro comedy trickled down the company's lower ranks, where the employees comfortably settled into a fraternity mindset that has sources say disadvantaged women. The company, which is 80% male and has 2,500 employees, has a alleged history of passing up qualified women for a promotion, holding female job candidates to a higher standard, perpetuating a bro coach culture of bathroom humor and alleged sexual misconduct. Giving the man 2 months of unpaid leave for ball tapping and farting in people's faces seems inappropriate when I want you to consider if you're Brian, if you were working in the mailroom and you went and farted on Joseph's face, do you think you'd get 2 months paid suspended leave?
I would fire myself if I did that to someone at work.
And it's
like I would just be like immediately just feel terrible about what I did and just like, no, I deserve to leave. I'm gone. Like I'm just gonna walk. I'm going away of my own volition.
Can I just say once again, I feel like I say this every week that I'm on the show. Please give me evidence that women don't have it harder in tech. Because every single fucking week, it's been like there's been an issue with women working in tech. I don't mean to get pissy about it, but I kind of do at the same time. Like I'm continually shocked at how discriminatory the workplace can be for women, particularly in game development. Like, what the fuck?
Riot's defense has been that the statements that have been made have been things that happened early in Riot starting up under a new fledgling thing that was flying by the seat of its pants early in the development, and that Scott Gelb has changed his ways over time, and that he's owning up to the issues that he's had with this suspension, and that he wants to come back and have a more professional, courteous environment. And
oh, kiss my ass! Like, that's such bullshit. I'm sorry. It is.
No, you don't have to apologize. It is bullshit. Like, this comes at the culmination of an 8-month-long investigation by Kotaku. Like, this is not something that has just come up out of the blue. This is something that's persisted for years. And whether people want to, like, point to most of these things happening at the onset of Riot's creation, or as it more than likely has existed throughout the time since Riot started, up until recent, I would say, up until about August, whenever the first Kotaku report went live. No matter what length of time this happened, there are repercussions that need to be served, and 2 months of leave, 2 months of leave for this dude is such a slap on the wrist.
It really
Hardly
is.
even a slap on the wrist. And what's even worse is, like, reading through the statement from Riot's CEO. I can't recall her name at the moment. It's in the article. Basically saying that he wants to come back, like, and that she hopes that other quote unquote rioters will accept his return, and just like she is, and allow him the chance to be a better person or whatever. No, the fucker lost that chance. And every other person that has been quoted in this article, and it seems like the majority of the people contacted by Kotaku in regards to these situations, has said exactly the contrary to what the CEO has been saying. No one sees this as a just punishment. No one sees this as anything more than just lip service on the part of Riot, because they were willing to fire other people that didn't necessarily have the protections that someone as high up as the COO of the company has.
Mm.
This was their chance to make a statement in the face of all this almost years long of reporting about the misogynistic attitudes that permeate that company. And once again, there's either it's arrogance or just simply they just don't care. But they're dropping the ball either way.
Like, I feel like if I continue to talk about it right now, I would speak from a place of anger, because it's rote. It's rote. Like, I've experienced this shit. I've had other women experience this shit, and the people responsible, typically dudes, not to be sexist, but typically dudes, it's like, oh, whatever. It's a boys' club. It's how men are. Who cares? And
Those
women aren't taken seriously.
Tired.
Yeah, tell me about it, dude.
I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but those excuses are fucking tired. They were tired decades ago. We don't get to use that anymore in defense of dumb bullshit like this that affects people around you in a fucking terrible way. This should not exist. This should not be happening now. And the fact that they have been outed as cultivating this type of environment and not doing a lick about it, this should speak to the kind of company that Riot is. And the thing that really pains me the most is that Riot's fan base is not going to give two shits about this.
Oh no, they don't care.
The majority of it is not, because League of Legends is probably the most toxic fan base in video games. It has been for years, and it will continue to be.
Of course.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's just one of those things where I just don't know exactly where this ends up going for Riot specifically. People are going to continue to call them out on their bullshit. I know that. And they're such a large company that they're more than even if people that are not happy working at the company leave, they're going to be able to hire people to replace them more than likely, because people will turn a blind eye to this sort of thing. So it's just super frustrating to watch this happen. And the best thing I can say is that people that are affected adversely by this, if they can find another way to make their living in the same way that they're doing it at Riot, get the hell out of there. And I'm sure that they thought about that.
And that's the thing though, man. It's especially in this economy, it's you find a job where you can fucking get it. And as a woman, I have been in a situation where it's do I continue to put up with the bullshit obvious boys club stuff that I have to deal with, or do I try to find another job and possibly quit the job and have no income? It's not an easy position to be in, especially when your livelihood depends on it.
Yeah.
And it's just fucking sickening. I'm so fucking over it. And this isn't going to be the last story that we see on it either. Guaranteed. It's so fucking hard trying to get a foothold in any tech-based industry when you're a woman, whether that's broadcasting, any of the hard sciences, game development, whatever. And you think, I'm finally in. I'm going to be recognized for my talent, or at least treated with the same level of respect as my male peers. And you get this shit constantly. And that's all I'm going to say about it, because I know we have to move on. But this is, again, a topic that sure as shit we're going to be revisiting in a future episode. Guaranteed.
Absolutely.
No, definitely.
I can promise the situation with Epic is something that's going to be continued to be watched. But moving on, we have Heroes of the Storm in the news as a difficult decision from Blizzard. And the following is their direct quote. Over the past several years, the work of evaluating our development process and making hard decisions has led to a new game and other products that we're proud of. We have now have more live games and unannounced projects than at any point in the company's history. We're also at a point where we need to take some of our talented developers and bring their skills to other projects. As a result, we've made the difficult decision to shift some developers from Heroes of the Storm to other teams, and we're excited to see the passion, knowledge, and experience that they'll bring to those projects. This isn't the first time we've had to make such tough choices like games like Diablo 2, World of Warcraft, StarCraft 2, Overwatch, and more would not exist had we not made similar decisions in the past. This does not mean that Heroes of the Storm is ending, but new heroes and events will come out, but it will be at a light, slower pace. As well, the main thing coming out of this is that the tournaments for Heroes of the Storm are going to be canceled.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this isn't terribly surprising. I know that like Heroes of the Dorm, the I think the collegiate esports event, at least drew a lot of interest, and also I believe was one of the initial events that was broadcast on ESPN, kind of starting their branching into esports content. So from that aspect, it's sad to see that event go away. But I mean, let's face it, Heroes of the Storm was never a priority for Blizzard. Like it never like brought in a huge fan base. People that do play it are diehard about it. You know, I've heard many people tell me that it's the best MOBA out there, and that based off of my dabbling with Dota, that I should give it a shot. But I don't know, I just never got around to it. But it's at least a fun, interesting little playground for Blizzard to play with all the different franchises that they have. It's good to see that they're still going to support it going forward, but it does make sense considering they have a new Diablo coming. They have I can't imagine like what else they might have down the pipeline. They're never one to not have stuff coming. So peeling off some of the development team from Heroes of the Storm and putting them onto something else makes total sense in the long scheme of things.
Yeah, it's no surprise. Heroes of the Storm was definitely never a frontline thing for Blizzard. So while I definitely understand that the community is probably really let down over this, it shouldn't come as a surprise to them. It's always a letdown when a community, especially one that still is going and has a large enough number, to hear announcements along these lines, especially that the sports is going to expand.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, they didn't necessarily need to continue with Heroes of the Storm as an esport. Excuse, Lord, excuse me. I mean, they put in so much money in television rights deals and streaming rights deals with Twitch and ESPN and ABC with Overwatch League in just 1 year that they don't need any other esports. I mean, they're still going to have StarCraft running over in Korea. They still that base is still very, very active. Overwatch is slowly overtaking pretty much any other esport game in the U.S. and beyond as the top viewer. Sorry, I can't talk. As the top sim viewership numbers, right, as well as revenue. So like it makes total sense for them to back away from this, as it's not going to pull in the same kind of money as Overwatch League can, and Overwatch League pulls in enough that they don't even need to touch this thing as an esport anymore.
Oh yeah.
So it just makes good business sense.
Dump your money into OWL. That's probably the best thing you can do at this point. It's all there.
Yeah.
Anyway, the next story. Epic has yet more lawsuits coming. We already had rapper 2 Milli suing over the use of his dance game. Now Alfonso Ribeiro, who you may know from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air as Carlton, his dance, he's suing. As well as the Orange Shirt Boy. The Backpack Boy, excuse me.
Yeah.
The Orange Shirt Boy is not yet suing at this point, as far as I'm aware, but the Backpack Boy is.
Ooh,
oh, Epic.
Show the Carlton.
Yeah, it won't let me do it.
I know, it's just annoying.
Fucking
no, but I mean,
YouTube.
This makes total sense. I mean, they just appropriated like these images from these people, just out of, like without any thought of recourse. So it makes total sense why Ribeiro and 2 Milli would be suing.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're necessarily going to get a judgment out of this. I assume that Epic will settle this because considering how much money they're sitting on right now, you know.
I have to
But-
imagine the settlement case, but it's it's not as if there haven't been dances that have been stolen from pop culture used in games or other media before. So this has the likelihood of precedent on whether dances can be considered a form of media that can be, intellectually copyrighted without a copyright hell.
Yeah, I think where these two cases differ from some in the past are that the dances in question are so closely associated with the people that created them and made them popular in the first place. Because like, there's a reason why it's called the Carlton Dance. It started with Ribeiro. He created it for his character in that show. So like, it makes total sense why he would have a claim to make.
Yeah, and
Against
it's not
its
as
use.
if Epic doesn't know where they got that dance from. They
Yeah.
literally call it fresh in the
Oh.
game.
I mean, how fucking hard
God.
is it just to be like, hey, can we use this dance? No, we can't. Okay, appreciate you. You saying something, and just avoiding this whole situation. Instead, let's just take a copyrighted dance that everybody and their mother from the past 30 or 40 years who's been alive knows what that dance is, and goes, this surely is okay to use.
Yeah,
I've seen
or
some
just
people-
simply offer compensation.
Right.
I've seen some people, when talking about this, they looked at a past clip where he's talking to, I believe, Access Hollywood, where he says, I was trying to think of, in the script, it didn't really say how to dance, it just said Carlton dances, like, how do my friends Courtney Cox and these other people dance? Which to me more sounds like he was thinking to himself, how do white people dance? That's how I should
Oh
dance.
yeah.
But some people are taking it in a way of, well, you took it from somebody else, clearly, so I don't know. It is the
I don't know if that
dumbest,
holds up
thinnest
necessarily.
argument. But I
Yes.
imagine it's one we'll hear again. Either way, short, cute story. Let's move on. Soldier Boy! He is selling...
Oh, great.
He's been selling some video game consoles that have been hit in the market. The Soldier Watch, the Soldier Game Console, the Soldier Game Boy.
This is
Soldier Game 3000, right?
what the fuck is this? What
There's
the
a whole
fuck
lot
is this?
of Soldier Game
It is-
consoles he's selling, and it's great.
It's the logical evolution from his shitty machinima that he made with Halo back in 2008. Of course, the next step was to slap his name on one of those shareware run-of-the-mill 101 video game consoles that you can just grab and play whatever the hell, 10 different versions of Breakout.
Yeah, from all reports, these are consoles you can get from Alibaba for way less than what he's selling them for as rebranded consoles with his name on. And when people started, calling him out on it, he doubled down and added more consoles to his storefront.
God damn.
It's very, very exciting times in the world of video games. You want to get yourself an 801 console, boys.
Oh boy. Ah, jeez. Ah, boy. This is a bad look. It's a bad look, guys. I don't like it.
I've seen some people who went out and bought the consoles just for the grins and giggles of it. The Retro Soldier Boy Mini is especially amusing. It is.
Yeah, look at this shit. Come on. Come the fuck on, dude.
But it's
Yo,
only
Nintendo.
$99 for the Retro Soldier Boy Mini.
Although I will say this, whatever game is on this thing, unlocking cool choppers is all about me. So.
Don't you want to unlock cool choppers?
Oh, he's got a soldier watch. Ooh.
Oh, and the Soldier Boy Fuse for $400. $400.
All right. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. All right.
This is terrible.
What the fuck? Please, Nintendo, please, please. If you're gonna go after people who are just playing ROMs,
oh, that's the best part.
Come on.
Nintendo has already gone after him.
Good.
Good.
He hasn't taken anything down yet.
What
He
the
just
fuck?
doubled down. He saw the hand he was given,
And he doubled down. He doubled down.
Of course he did.
With apologies to Sorrow TV. Holy
Oh.
shit.
Moving on.
Yeah, please. No, this is fucked up, man.
Yeah, the Kingdom Hearts 3 community is pissed the fuck off. Some guy was able to get his hands on an early copy of the Xbox One version of Kingdom Hearts 3, and started putting out videos on the internet. Primarily, it was looking like he was just trying to sell copies of the game,
Mm.
through his channels, and it does look like some people were buying copies. So yeah, spoilers have already started to leak out on the internet of this. Clearly, this comes with bans and removals for absolutely anyone who's playing the game early, because it shows up on your Xbox feed. The moment you get that fucking, turned off, you will be removed, you'll be banned. This guy's already facing lawsuits from Disney. Yeah, don't fuck with Disney.
Yeah. I mean, point number one right there. But the other issue is just from I mean, make whatever arguments you want, but just from a moral standpoint, you've got Kingdom Hearts fans waiting over a decade for the fucking continuation of a story that they love, that they've been attached to. Like, I remember playing Kingdom Hearts back when I was in fucking high school. Like I've kind of grown distant from the series. Even I'm kind of curious to figure out like how the story ends or continues or whatever the fuck. Like if somebody did this to me and I was at like Metal Gear Solid or something, like I would be so upset. Like having that shit ruined and then people posting it on social media and stuff just with no like spoiler tags or anything. Like it's so fucked up, man. Like it really is.
Nomura did release a statement.
Yeah,
we
he
are
did.
aware that a small portion of Kingdom Hearts 3 has been circulating online before its official release. We are also aware as to how this all happened. We're sorry to see this cause concern amongst our fans who are excited for the release. The whole team has been working together since yesterday night, Japan time, to investigate what we can do to better the situation. But first, we'd like to ask that you do not share these videos. The game's epilogue and secret movie, which are the biggest spoilers in the game, are planned to be released at a later date just in case, so they will not be shown before the game's release. We want everyone to be able to equally experience the full game after it's released, so we ask for your continued support on this matter. We're also very grateful that our fans have been warning each other already about the spoilers. Thank you very much. We're 1 month out from the release. Let's enjoy the game together when it releases on January 29th, 2019. So yeah, there's a lot to take away from that. That first off, day one download of the actual epilogue and ending movie. So that's actually a pretty smart move to keep people from breaking treat date with your summon for things along. As well, knowing that they're already taking movements against it. We already know from other articles and items that Disney's lawyers are on the track. So
Yeah, like you fucked with Disney, boy, and bad move, bad look.
yeah, I would expect there to be major lawsuits and potentially several years of jail time for this guy for distributing early copy. illegally. So,
Yeah.
keep your eyes out for that story when it finally hits. But I think the ultimate takeaway is don't be a douchebag. Don't pre-spoil things for people who've been waiting into 15 years for a video game. Which brings us to our last major story of the evening. Super Smash Bros. Sales have reached over 3 million units already. It's less than 2 weeks into it, and they've already hit 3 million sales, which is the fastest selling version of Smash Bros. Ever, the fastest selling game on the Nintendo Switch ever. It's going to outsell, very likely, The Legend of Zelda, Mario Kart, Mario Odyssey. Each one of those sold 4 to 5, with Mario Kart 8 selling well over 5 million units. They're going to outpace all of that, which is, it's amazing work, and it's good to see the people, let's be real here. Everyone keeps wanting to lump on the producer of all of his hard work. This is a team that has been fucking dedicated and spent years of their life putting together one of the most comprehensive, well-animated, well-balanced games that, you're going to see in this console game.
No, I mean, I completely agree. Like, I'm super happy to see that this thing is as successful as it is. I mean, I think I think we all expected it to be successful upon release. I don't know if 3 million in 2 weeks is the number that we would have pegged, but there's no way that Smash was going to fail. Like, this was the game this year for this system.
Oh, yeah.
If Zelda was the first one, like, this one is the next one. This is going to be the thing that sells consoles this holiday season. And so, like, I'm just happy that we ended up getting another one. I'm happy that they took the time to, like, turn this thing into even more of a love letter to Nintendo and its various partner companies. And I mean, as the only one on this show that has not gotten his hands on it, I am severely envious of both of you.
And
I
will
need
say,
to get my hands on this thing.
This isn't to put numbers against games like Red Dead Redemption or God of War or Grand Theft Auto 5, which sold on multiple platforms and are breaking not just 3 but tens of millions of sold. So it's a long way to go for the most games sold, but for the Nintendo console, it's a pretty big.
I mean, I'd argue that this is the equivalent of that, considering that this game is only on this one console and is a strictly caters to a Nintendo fan base, whereas Red Dead you can get on almost any console. You can get it on GTA. You can get on almost any console plus PC. God of War, had so much hype around it that there was no way that it wasn't going to sell as good as well as it did. And then Spider-Man broke that record. So, like, some of these larger titles that have the hype machine behind them, not to say that Smash didn't, because Smash definitely did, but not to the extent that some of these titles for a PlayStation or Xbox or PC have. I think that 3 million on the Switch is definitely something to hang your hat on. Like, I wouldn't even try and compare it to Red Dead, except in the fact that, this is 3 million is their 10 million, I'd say.
Oh, yeah. That being said, that roughly does it for the Mr. Video Game Super Show for this week. But as always, we end with our Mr. Video Game of the Week. It is the person or entity or whatever that has done something that basically epitomizes video games, whether it be for good or for bad. And this we have chosen Fallout 76 player. Where is your name?
Satellite Jedi.
There we go.
Yes. Satellite Jedi. Oh my God, this dude, this person.
Yeah, let's not assume. We don't know for certain, though. I'm going to assume it's a guy, but yeah, we don't. Well, wait.
It is
sorry.
a he. It is a he. So you can use
Yeah,
he.
many of his success, yes. So if they say it on
Yes.
Polygon, yeah, it's good enough for me. Anyway,
Yeah.
so this guy has decided to be the in boss for Fallout 76. Since there is no other in boss, he's gotten some of his friends together. He's hiding in a room by himself, with several of his friends out and about in black robes guarding him. And people can send out requests to go raid him, basically.
It's beautiful. This is what I think people wanted Fallout 76 to be, or what they're turning Fallout 76 into. It's not what they wanted it to be. They're just making this their own personal playground. And Satellite Jedi, like just the fact that he just went on Reddit and just posted. I love the title of his post, like "I am your raid boss. I am your content." Like it's beautiful. Like he's just hanging out there with like over 1,000 caps. He's got 3 of his buddies acting as bodyguards. They're switching up their like backstory almost on a daily basis, like going from like corporate overlords to cultists to like whatever else they can come up with. Really trying to utilize the PvP system in it to give people something super interesting. And also, not just that he wants to give them something to fight against, he recognizes the fact that bosses are there to be beaten. He's not trying to become overpowered to the point that no one can beat him either. Like he's perfectly happy having someone, they're going to work for it, but having players come in and overthrow him and take his bounty. Like he seems very satisfied with being able to beat that person as well. So,
Yeah, this guy isn't trying to be internet badass. Oh, no one can beat me. He's looking to have fun with a game that some people, let's say, have not had as much fun with.
Yeah, I mean, and Joan, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I didn't know if you had any thoughts on this being the resident Fallout 76 player.
Well, I mean, it's not like you gotta defeat the guy to quote unquote beat the storyline, but I mean, this is something that Bethesda was looking for people to do anyway, like sort of come up with their own quest and have people like play against each other and this and that. So I mean, I think the concept's okay. It's a little silly, but that's the nature of MMOs, right? Like it's inherently silly.
No.
So
it's definitely silly.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm trying to find the quote exactly. Sorry.
No. It's like I really have no issue with it, to be honest. It's okay.
As someone who spent 2 years of his college life pretending to be a clothing store person in World of Warcraft, I understand the desire to both, do PvP and roleplay and all that good stuff. Bring some immersion to your world and all that bullshit.
I mean, and to be fair, for comparing it to WoW, I mean, I don't think the developers of WoW really had that thought when they originally came up with the game that like, people are gonna spend, real world hours selling goods and being a vendor or things like that, and Bethesda's at least as ham-fisted as it is, going in and going, hey, you've got this opportunity. We can let you do this, and I think that's neat. I'm not saying I'm going to engage with it, but for people who are interested in that sort of thing, like, go for it. I think role playing is fine. I wish there was more opportunities to have better role playing. I'm not talking PvP, just role playing in general in 76. But I mean, all that being said and done, I think it's cute. It's all right. It does what it's got to do.
Yeah. If you don't mind, I would like to read the backstory that he's created for himself.
Yeah, I was looking into it. It's pretty cool.
Okay, so according to his Reddit post, I am the president of a corporate entity turned foul after the collapse of the market and society. I enlisted the aid of my top directors and rebranded our organization as a raider outfit. We sold weapons and ammo to government and terrorist organizations alike before the war, but business just isn't what it used to be. Now we use our aforementioned munitions to take everything that you own, and we also punch babies. This is so silly. This is so dumb in the best way. And I'm glad that that people within Fallout 76, for all the issues that it's had, have been able to find their own fun with it.
It is perfectly dumb, and that's the most beautiful thing I think you can do with a video game. Either way, that has been the Mr. Video Game Show for December 20th, 2018. Next week, we'll be coming back at you with our personal top threes and our worst games of the year for 2018. Spoilers, Detroit is Detroit's.
Woo! Game of the year. Fuck Detroit. Game of the year. Fuck Australia for giving Detroit fucking best narrative or whatever the fuck they gave it over there in Australia. The dumb fucks. Sorry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Let's
Detroit
save
actually
it
won
for next
something.
week. Save it for next week. Take a
I'm
breath.
trying. Bleh.
Brian, any
Anyway.
final words for this week?
How the fuck did Bethesda get nominated for Developer of the Year on the Steam Awards?
Those are some good words.
That's my final thought. It's just that question. How?
Joan, any thoughts?
I do. I'm gonna throw them up on stream.
Stop! You violated the law.
Nice.
Pay the court a fine or serve your sentence.
There you go.
Your stolen goods.
That's it. That's all I have to say.
That works for me.
Oh. Good night, everyone, and have a pleasant tomorrow.
Stop! You violated the law.